The scary truth about Cal Raleigh is that baseball may have already witnessed the greatest power season a catcher will ever produce, and most fans still do not understand how impossible it was. Raleigh did not simply hit 60 home runs in 2025. He broke records belonging to Mickey Mantle, Griffey Jr, Salvador Perez, and nearly every great power-hitting catcher before him, all while handling a pitching staff and playing the most punishing position on the field. He became an all-star, home run derby champion, gold glove winner, platinum glove winner, and the face of the Seattle Mariners. But none of it was supposed to happen. Raleigh was never baseball's most celebrated prospect, never viewed as a future superstar, and never given the easy road. After early failure, demotions, criticism, and years of physical punishment, the man known as the Big Dumper transformed himself into one of the most unlikely sluggers in baseball history. This is how Cal Raleigh went from an overlooked catcher to a 60 home run phenomenon, and why the most frightening part of his story may be what he had to survive to get there. Caleb John Raleigh was born in Harrisonburg, Virginia, before growing up in North Carolina. Baseball surrounded him from the beginning. His father, Todd, coached the sport, and Cal learned the game alongside his brothers. But he did not grow up looking like the next face of Major League Baseball. He was a catcher. That meant long days in the heat, foul balls off the mask, bruises across his body, and countless innings spent crouched behind the plate. Catchers rarely become the biggest offensive stars in baseball because the position demands so much before they ever pick up a bat. Raleigh embraced it. The pain, preparation, and responsibility never scared him. They became the foundation of the player he would eventually become. At Smoky Mountain High School, he developed into a strong switch-hitting catcher and earned an opportunity to play at Florida State. The Seminoles were one of college baseball's proudest programs, and Raleigh arrived with talent, toughness, and something scouts could not easily measure. He wanted responsibility. At Florida State, Raleigh became the kind of catcher coaches trusted. He managed pitchers, controlled the running game, and produced from both sides of the plate. By his junior season, he had established himself as one of the better college catchers in the country. Still, nobody viewed him as a future 60 home run hitter. The Seattle Mariners selected Raleigh in the third round of the 2018 draft with the 90th overall pick. It was a respectable selection, but not the type that creates national headlines. Seattle believed it had found a potential major league catcher. What it had actually found was a player who would eventually rewrite the record book. Raleigh began climbing through the minor leagues. In 2019, he hit 29 home runs between two levels, earned league honors, and began showing power that exceeded expectations. Then the 2020 minor league season disappeared because of the pandemic. For a developing catcher, that lost year mattered. Raleigh missed real games, daily repetitions, and valuable time learning how to handle professional pitchers. He spent the season at Seattle's alternate training site preparing for an opportunity nobody could guarantee. That opportunity finally arrived on July 11th, 2021. Raleigh made his major league debut against the Angels. He went hitless. The struggles continued. Major league pitchers attacked his weaknesses. His timing disappeared. His batting average sank. Raleigh finished his rookie season hitting .180 with only 2 home runs in 47 games. The player who had crushed minor league pitching suddenly looked overmatched. In 2022, things became even worse before they became better. Raleigh started slowly and was sent back to AAA in late April. For a 25-year-old catcher trying to prove he belonged, the demotion could have broken his confidence. Instead, it changed his career. Raleigh returned to Seattle less than 2 weeks later with a different approach. He stopped trying to survive and started attacking. The power returned. His defense improved. His pitchers trusted him. Every month, he looked more comfortable. Then came September 30th, 2022. The Mariners had not reached the postseason since 2001. Their 21-year drought was the longest active playoff absence in major North American professional sports. Seattle had come close before, but every season seemed to end with the same disappointment. Against Oakland, the game remained tied in the bottom of the ninth. Raleigh began the night on the bench because the Athletics had started a left-handed pitcher. With 2 outs and the count full, he stepped in as a pinch hitter. One swing changed the history of the franchise. Raleigh launched the pitch over the right field wall. The stadium exploded. Teammates poured from the dugout. Fans who had waited more than 2 decades finally celebrated. Cal Raleigh had hit the first pinch hit walk-off home run in Major League history to send a team to the postseason. The Big Dumper became a Seattle legend. Not because he was the loudest star on the roster, but because he delivered when an entire city needed one swing. He finished the season with 27 home runs, the most by any major league catcher that year. In the playoffs, Raleigh helped Seattle erase a 7-run deficit against Toronto and advance to the division series. The overlooked catcher had become the emotional heartbeat of the Mariners, but Raleigh was not satisfied. In 2023, he hit 30 home runs, and again, led Major League catchers in power. He also became one of baseball's best at stopping the running game. Raleigh was no longer simply surviving behind the plate, he was controlling games. In 2024, he reached another level. Raleigh hit 34 home runs, drove in 100 runs, and broke his own franchise records. He won the American League Gold Glove and then the Platinum Glove, recognizing him as the league's best overall defender. Think about that. The same catcher leading his position in home runs was also being honored as its best defender. Raleigh caught more than 1,000 innings, studied hitters, guided pitchers, blocked balls in the dirt, and still produced more power than almost every catcher alive. It already looked like his masterpiece. Then came 2025. Raleigh opened the season hitting home runs at a pace nobody expected. Pitchers tried fastballs, breaking balls, and both sides of the plate. It did not matter. Raleigh punished mistakes as a left-handed hitter and a right-handed hitter. By the All-Star break, he had 38 home runs, one short of Barry Bonds' major league record for the first half. He became the first switch hitter ever to hit at least 20 home runs from each side of the plate in one season. At the home run derby in Atlanta, Raleigh's family joined him. His father pitched, his brother caught. The kid raised in a baseball family won the derby with the people who had helped build him. Then the records began falling. Raleigh passed Salvador Perez for the most home runs by a catcher. He passed Mickey Mantle for the most by a switch hitter. He passed Ken Griffey Jr. for the Mariners' single-season record. On September 24th, he hit home runs number 59 and 60 as Seattle secured its first division championship since 2001. 60 home runs from a catcher. Raleigh became only the 7th player in Major League history to reach 60. He led all of baseball in home runs, drove in 125 runs, and produced one of the greatest seasons ever recorded at his position. He finished second in the MVP race, only because Aaron Judge produced another historic year. But 2026 delivered a reminder of how cruel baseball can be. Raleigh injured his oblique in May, attempted to play through it, and eventually missed a month. His timing vanished. His average fell below .170, and the home runs that once seemed automatic became difficult to find. Critics began asking whether 2025 had been a miracle that could never be repeated. Maybe it was, but that misses the point. The scary truth about Cal Raleigh is not that he will hit 60 home runs every season. Nobody should expect that. It is that he reached a level no catcher was supposed to reach at all. He combined historic power, elite defense, leadership, durability, and the physical punishment of catching into one unbelievable season. Even during his difficult 2026, Seattle has continued to depend on him. He returned from injury, delivered a grand slam in July, produced another walk-off in August, and reminded everyone that his value cannot be measured only by batting average. Raleigh has spent his career being underestimated. He was a third-round pick, a struggling rookie, a demoted catcher, and a player whose nickname sounded more like a joke than the name of a superstar. Now his name sits beside Mantle, Griffey, Bench, Piazza, and the greatest power hitters baseball has ever known. The scary truth is that Cal Raleigh did not need to become the most famous player in baseball to change its history. He simply kept catching, kept learning, kept absorbing punishment, and kept swinging until the records belonged to him. So was Cal Raleigh's 60 home run. Season the greatest year by a catcher in baseball history, and will anyone at the position ever come close to doing it again? If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more stories about the players changing baseball.